Which means you're stuck in this exhausting loop. Terrified a car breakdown will wipe you out, but equally terrified that waiting to invest means you'll never be able to retire. Here's the thing, you're not stuck because you made a bad decision, you're stuck because nobody ever told you the actual order. Most finance content tells you two things: build an emergency fund and start investing early. What they skip is how those two goals fit together and what it costs when you get the sequence wrong. By the end of this video, you'll have a clear decision rule for your situation. We'll cover what the math actually says about when to invest, how much cash is enough, and the exact framework that most financial planners use but rarely explain out loud. This is educational content, not personalized financial advice. Let's get into it. $123,660. That's the 30-year cost of getting the sequence wrong. Not the cost of picking bad stocks, not the cost of a market crash, the cost of waiting too long to invest because your emergency fund didn't feel quite full enough. We ran the math on three strategies: a 28-year-old with $500 a month to work with, a 7% annual average return, and a $3,000 a month budget that makes a 6-month emergency fund $18,000. Strategy A: build the full $18,000 fund first, then start investing. By year 30, $479,000. Strategy B: invest immediately with just a $3,000 buffer. One real emergency hits, they sell $3,000 of investments to cover it. By year 30, $569,000, $90,000 more than strategy A. Strategy C: the hybrid. Start investing right away to capture the employer 401k match. Build the emergency fund in parallel. By year 30, $602,000, $123,000 more than strategy A. Same income, same return. Three very different outcomes from one decision made at the beginning. The question isn't whether to have an emergency fund, it's how much, when, and what to do with your dollars while you're building it. An emergency fund is not a savings account. It's a dam. Its job is not to grow your wealth. Its job is to make sure you never have to drain your investments at the worst possible moment, when you've just lost your job, your roof is leaking, and the market is down 30%. That's the nightmare scenario, and it happens more often than people think. According to the Federal Reserve data, only 63% of Americans could cover a $400 unexpected expense with cash in 2023 without borrowing. Bankrate's most recent emergency savings report found that 53% of Americans would need to go into debt to cover a $1,000 emergency bill. For most viewers watching this, the emergency fund isn't a theoretical problem, it's a real one. But here's where the advice gets complicated, because not everyone needs the same dam. There are two types of financial emergencies, and most advice treats them as one. A spending shock is a car repair, a medical bill, a broken appliance. These are painful but finite. You need 1 to 3 months of expenses in accessible cash to handle them without flinching. An income shock is a job loss. It's not a few $1,000s, it's your paycheck disappearing for months. For a mid-career professional, the average job search takes 5 to 6 months. That's where the 3 to 6 month rule comes from. The size of your emergency fund should be calibrated to your biggest real risk, not to a generic rule someone wrote in 1995. Let's compare the three most common approaches head to head. Speed to first investment. With a 3-month target, you're investing in roughly 2 to 3 months. A 6-month target takes twice as long. A 12-month fund means you're on the sidelines for a year or more. Winner, 3 months. Opportunity cost. Every month that $500 sits in cash instead of the market is a month of compounding you don't get back. The 3-month fund loses the least to cash drag. Winner, 3 months. Job loss protection. If you lose your income tomorrow, a 3-month fund is risky for anyone in a specialized or cyclical field. 6 months covers the average job search. 12 months is genuine peace of mind. Winner, 6 months for most people. Variable income fit. If you're a freelancer, commission-based, or self-employed, your income can disappear without a layoff notice. 3 months is dangerous. Winner, 12 months for variable income. Psychological safety. Here's the counterintuitive one. The 12-month fund feels the safest, but for many people, it becomes a comfort trap. They hit $30,000 and then feel like they need $40,000. The goal line moves forever. Winner, 6 months. It provides real security without enabling indefinite delay. The bottom line, for a stable W-2 employee with 2 household incomes, 3 months is defensible. For most single income households or anyone with a mortgage and kids, 6 months is the target. For self-employed or highly cyclical industries, tech, real estate, construction, lean towards 9 to 12 months. Before we get to the decision tree, there's a smarter structure most videos never explain. Instead of one giant pile of cash sitting in a checking account, the professionals use a tiered system. Tier 1, 1 month of essential expenses in an online high-yield savings account. Instant access, FDIC insured. This is your true break glass in emergency fund. Check irs.gov for current FDIC limits. Tier 2, 2 to 4 more months in a money market account or short-term treasury bills. Still liquid, still safe, but earning a bit more. This is your income shock protection layer. Tier 3, everything above that is long-term capital. It belongs in your investment accounts, not parked in cash. There's one more option worth knowing. Under Secure 2.0, a major retirement law update for plan years beginning in 2024. Some workplace retirement plans now allow up to $1,000 to be withdrawn penalty-free for emergency personal expenses. Income tax still applies, and you should check your specific plan documents for eligibility. It's not a replacement for an emergency fund, but it's a small backstop that didn't exist 3 years ago. Verify the current rules at irs.gov or with a qualified financial professional. And one more, if you have a Roth IRA, your contributions, not your earnings, can be withdrawn at any time without tax or penalty. Some planners use this as a secondary emergency layer for people with limited cash but strong savings intent. Track your contributions carefully if you use this. Here's the decision tree. Start at the top. Question 1. Is your income variable or fixed? If you have a W-2 salary with direct deposit, you're in the fixed column. Move to question 2. If you're freelance, commission heavy, contract, or self-employed, your minimum target is 6 months. Add 3 more for every major fixed obligation. A mortgage, a child, an aging parent, cap at 12 months for most people. Question 2. Does your employer offer a 401k match? If yes, stop building the emergency fund temporarily. Put just enough in savings to hit your 1-month starter target, then redirect dollars to your 401k until you're getting the full match. Then come back to build the emergency fund to 3 to 6 months. Then max retirement contributions. This is the hybrid approach. It's strategy C from the math we ran earlier. It wins by $123,000 over 30 years because the employer match is an immediate 50% to 100% return on your money. No investment in the world reliably beats that. If no employer match, prioritize reaching 3 months of expenses in cash before investing. Then invest aggressively. Now the life stage adjustment. Early career, age 22 to 35. 3 months, lean and agile. Your human capital is high. Time in the market matters more than cash sitting idle. Mid-career, 35 to 50. 6 months minimum. Mortgage, kids, single income risk. Your fixed costs are not flexible the way they were in your 20s. You parent, regardless of age. 6 months, no exceptions. Your expenses just became less predictable and your income may be temporarily reduced. Pre-retirement, age 50 to 65. 6 to 12 months. A job loss at 58 often becomes involuntary early retirement. Recovery time is shorter. Capital preservation matters more. Pause this video right now and open your banking app. Look at your liquid savings balance. Divide it by what you actually spend each month. Not your income, your spending. That number is your current emergency runway. If you don't know that number, that's the first thing to fix. I want to say something that might surprise you after spending 6 minutes building the case for a 3 to 6 month emergency fund. The standard advice is not always right. For people with stable dual incomes, strong credit access, a fully funded Roth IRA, and a taxable brokerage account with significant assets, keeping $40,000 in cash is almost certainly over insurance. The FIRE community has a credible point here. Once your investment portfolio is large enough, the portfolio itself becomes the emergency fund. A $500,000 taxable account losing 30% in a crash still leaves you $350,000. Liquidating $15K from that is an 8% hit. Painful, but survivable. The long run math of keeping that $15,000 invested rather than in cash often wins. The problem is that this math works for people who already have the portfolio. It does not work for someone who is still building it. If you're early in your financial journey, which is the overwhelming majority of people probably watching this video, the argument for a thin emergency fund assumes you have multiple backup systems that most people don't have. Generous credit access, employable skills that transfer quickly, and the psychological discipline to not panic sell during a crisis. Most people don't have all three, and the consequence of of getting it wrong isn't just a bad year, it's a credit card debt at 22% APR that sets you back 3 to 5 years. The conventional advice exists because the conventional person needs it. If you're in the minority who genuinely have those backups, you know it, and you're probably not asking YouTube how much cash to keep. 4 mistakes: 2 from not having enough, 2 from having too much, and 1 that it's a category of its own. Mistake 1: treating your salary as your expense number. Your emergency fund should cover your expenses, not your income. If you make $7,000 a month but spend $4,200, your 6-month fund is $25,200, not $42,000. Overshooting by that margin delays investing by years and costs 6 figures over decades. Mistake 2: keeping your emergency fund in a traditional bank savings account at a 0.01% interest versus 4% in an online high-yield savings account. On a $20,000 emergency fund, that's roughly $800 a year you're leaving on the table. Same FDIC insurance, same access, a 10-minute account opening, check current rates before choosing, they do change. Mistake 3: skipping the employer match while building the emergency fund. This is the most expensive mistake in the video. A 100% employee match is a 100% immediate return. The stock market has historically averaged 7 to 10% per year. Skipping the match to sit in cash is turning down a guaranteed 100% gain to earn 4%. There is no world where that math works in your favor. Mistake 4: the perfect emergency fund that never quite arrives. You hit $15,000 and decide you need $20,000. You hit $20,000 and notice inflation made the target $22,000. Meanwhile, the market ran 60% over 3 years while your cash grew 12%. One study modeled this exact scenario. Someone who spent 3 years building a perfect $80,000 cash fortress before investing in a period when the market returned 60% ended up with $88,000 in total. The person who built a lean $30,000 fund and invested the rest progressively had $108,000, a $20,000 gap from the same income from choosing safety over sequence. Here's the framework, not a rule, a framework. Step 1: get to $1,000 in a high yield savings account as fast as possible. This is your protection against small emergencies turning into credit card debt. It takes priority over everything else. Step 2: if your employer offers a 401k match, contribute enough to capture it fully. This is non-negotiable. No investment reliably beats an immediate 50 to 100% return. Step 3: build your emergency fund to 3 months if you're a stable WT employee with dual income. Build to 6 months if you're single income, have a mortgage, have kids, or work in a volatile field. Build 9 to 12 months if you're self-employed or commission-based. Step 4: max your retirement contributions, then invest in a taxable brokerage. This is the order that wins, not because it's clever, but because it doesn't leave your most vulnerable moments unprotected and doesn't leave your best earning years uninvested. The single variable that changes this most is your income stability. A tenured nurse and a freelance consultant living the same lifestyle need very different cash cushions, not because of their discipline, but because of the distance between a quiet month and a zero income month. Know your number, build to it, then stop and put every dollar above that line to work. Real financial freedom isn't just how much you earn, it's how much you keep, how much you protect, and how long your money works while you sleep. The most expensive emergency fund mistake isn't having too little, it's spending so long building the perfect one that you never actually start building wealth. This video is for educational purposes only and does not constitute financial advice. Your situation, income, tax bracket, employer benefits, dependents matters. Consult a qualified financial professional for personalized guidance. If this helped, the next decision most people face after getting their emergency fund right is this one. Should you be paying off debt at the same time or investing first? That video is right here. And if you found this useful, subscribing means you'll see the next one when it's ready.